In less than 1 hour, a mistake would either save 102 hostages or kill them all. How do you rescue 102 hostages from a fortified airport 2,500 miles away when you have less than 7 days to plan, train, and execute a mission that military experts call suicide? You fly 4 C-130 Hercules transports into the heart of enemy territory at night, land on a hostile runway without permission, and complete the entire raid in 53 minutes. That we uncover in this video and more. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button.
June 27, 1976, Athens International Airport, Greece. The Airbus A300 is scheduled to depart for Paris with a connection to Tel Aviv. 248 passengers board through the jet bridge. Among them, 4 individuals who will change everything. 2 men in their late 20s carry small leather bags. They blend perfectly with other passengers. Security screening in 1976 consists of metal detectors that passengers walk through without removing shoes, belts, or jackets. 4 terrorists pass through security without incident. How did they get weapons and grenades through the checkpoint? Simple. The weapons were pre-positioned by ground crew accomplices, hidden in the aircraft lavatory maintenance panels days before the flight. Revolutionary cells had infiltrated Athens Airport's cleaning staff months earlier. Flight 139 departs Athens at 12:30 p.m. 20 minutes into the flight, the aircraft reaches cruising altitude over the Ionian Sea. The seatbelt sign turns off. Passengers recline their seats. Flight attendants begin beverage service. Then it happens. 2 men stand simultaneously, one in the forward cabin, one in the rear. They retrieve components from the lavatory panels. In 15 seconds, they assemble pistols and grenades smuggled in pieces past security. A woman passenger screams. Wilfried Bosse, a 27-year-old member of the German Revolutionary Cells, stands at the front of the cabin holding a 9mm pistol and 2 hand grenades. He shouts in German and English, "This aircraft is now under the control of the Che Guevara Group of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Nobody move. Remain seated." In the rear cabin, Brigitte Kuhlmann, Bosse's partner, holds an identical weapon configuration. 2 Palestinian PFLP operatives take positions at the emergency exits, blocking escape routes. The cockpit door, unlocked as standard in 1976, bursts open. Bosse enters, pistol aimed at Captain Bakos's head. "You will follow my instructions exactly. We are diverting to Benghazi, Libya. Any deviation from my orders and I detonate these grenades, everyone dies. Do you understand?" Captain Bakos, a 50-year-old veteran pilot with 30 years of experience, nods slowly. His hands remain steady on the controls. The hijackers herd passengers toward the rear of the aircraft. Bosse makes an announcement over the cabin intercom. "We demand the release of 53 prisoners held in Israel, France, Switzerland, Kenya, and Germany. If our demands are not met, this aircraft and everyone on board will be destroyed. You are now prisoners of the Palestinian Revolution." The Airbus A300 banks left, away from its planned route to Paris. It descends toward Benghazi, Libya. At 6:30 p.m., Flight 139 lands at Benghazi International Airport. Libyan authorities, sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, allow refueling. The hijackers release no hostages. After 7 hours on the ground, the aircraft departs again. But where are they going?
Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button.
The next leg covers 1,800 miles across the Sahara Desert, over Sudan, into East Africa. At 3:15 a.m. on June 28th, Air France Flight 139 lands at Entebbe International Airport in Uganda. 2,500 miles from Athens, deep in the heart of Idi Amin's brutal dictatorship. The passengers disembark into the old terminal building. They're now prisoners in one of the most hostile locations on Earth, surrounded by Ugandan soldiers loyal to Amin, guarded by armed terrorists, 2,500 miles from any rescue. The hijackers immediately begin separating passengers. Israeli passports holders move to the left side of the hall. All others move to the right.
This selection process would continue for 48 hours, dividing the hostages into two groups. 148 non-Israeli passengers who would eventually be released, and 94 Israelis plus 12 Air France crew members who refused to abandon them, 102 people who would remain captive, facing execution if demands were not met. The terrorists issue their ultimatum: release 53 militants imprisoned in 5 countries by July 1st at 11 a.m., or all Israeli hostages will be executed. The deadline: 4 days. But something else happens that changes everything. On June 30th, Ugandan President Idi Amin arrives at Entebbe Airport. He poses as a neutral mediator, offering to negotiate between the hijackers and Israeli government. But intelligence reveals the truth. Amin is providing the terrorists with reinforcements, 40 to 50 Ugandan soldiers from his elite Malir mechanized regiment. The hostages aren't just guarded by 4 terrorists anymore. They're now prisoners of an entire military force. Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin faces an impossible choice: negotiate with terrorists and set a catastrophic precedent, or attempt a military rescue that every expert says is suicide. On July 1st, Israel publicly agrees to negotiate, requesting an extension of the deadline to July 4th. The hijackers accept. But while diplomats talk, another plan is already in motion. Israeli Defense Forces Headquarters, Tel Aviv, June 28, 1976. The morning after the hijacking, Israel's top military commanders gather in a classified briefing room. Defense Minister Shimon Peres, Chief of Staff Motta Gur, and the head of military intelligence spread maps across a conference table. The target: Entebbe International Airport, Uganda. Distance from Israel: 2,500 miles. Time available: 6 days. But how do you plan a rescue mission to a location you've never seen, in a hostile country with no intelligence assets, against an enemy force of unknown size? The answer begins with a phone call. Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, contacts Solel Boneh, the Israeli construction company that built Entebbe Airport's old terminal building in 1972. Within hours, engineers who worked on the project are summoned to military headquarters. They bring blueprints, photographs, detailed memories of every hallway, every room, every door and window of the terminal where hostages are being held. Israeli intelligence receives additional confirmation from an unexpected source: the 48 non-Israeli hostages released on June 30th. They're debriefed immediately upon arrival in Paris. They provide critical information: exact hostage locations within the terminal, number and positions of guards, daily routines of the hijackers, Ugandan military presence and equipment, the layout of defensive positions. With this intelligence, military planners develop 3 potential rescue options. Option 1: diplomatic negotiation and prisoner exchange. Risk: sets precedent for future hijackings. Likelihood of success: 90%. Political cost: catastrophic. Option 2: covert insertion of a small team via parachute or sea infiltration. Risk: detection before reaching the airport. Likelihood of success: 15%. Casualties: total loss probable. Option 3: direct assault with air transport.
land 4 C-130 Hercules aircraft at Entebbe, execute a precision raid, and extract hostages before Ugandan reinforcements arrive. Risk everything. Likelihood of success 30%. If it fails spectacularly. Lieutenant Colonel Yonatan Netanyahu, commander of Sayeret Matkal, Israel's elite counterterrorism unit, studies option 3. He calculates timelines, distances, fuel requirements, opposition forces. Then he says 5 words that change everything. I can make this work. But how do you train for a mission to a location 2,500 miles away when you have only 4 days? You build it.
In the Sinai Desert, under brutal heat, Israeli forces build a full-scale replica of Entebbe Airport's old terminal. 200 soldiers, 36 hours, no margin for error. As soon as the mock terminal stands, 29 Sayeret Matkal commandos move in. They have 72 hours to rehearse a mission that must succeed in darkness, under fire, with 102 lives on the line. Every detail is replicated. A black Mercedes limousine, identical to Idi Amin's. 2 Ugandan-marked Land Rovers, a runway, a terminal, a kill zone. The deception is simple. Ugandan guards see Amin's car. They hesitate. That hesitation is everything. Netanyahu times every run. Run 1, too slow. Run 2, still too slow. They reset. Again. They drill the approach, the breach, room clearing, hostage control. They rehearse confusion, screaming civilians, darkness, smoke, moving targets. They practice identifying enemies without killing hostages who don't understand Hebrew. They add pressure, simulated reinforcements, chaos, failure scenarios. By July 3rd, they've run the mission 43 times. Run 43. Aircraft lands, hostages extracted, aircraft airborne. 53 minutes total. Perfect. The plan. Phase 1. 4 C-130s fly 2,500 miles, low and silent, skimming the Red Sea and Lake Victoria. Phase 2. Land at Entebbe at midnight, no clearance, no radio contact. Phase 3. Deploy the Mercedes, drive straight to the terminal, neutralize guards, kill the terrorists, secure all hostages within 90 seconds. Phase 4. Destroy Ugandan MiG fighters to stop pursuit. Phase 5. Refuel on the ground using onboard fuel bladders. Phase 6. Load hostages. Take off. Total time on the ground, under 1 hour. If one phase fails, everyone dies. At 2 p.m. July 3rd, Prime Minister Rabin gives final approval, 9 hours before launch. At 3 p.m., Netanyahu briefs his men. Some of us may not return, but 102 innocent people are counting on us. We will not fail them. At 11 p.m., 4 C-130 Hercules lift off from Sinai. Destination, Uganda. If you'd watched this far, kindly subscribe to catch more story like this. July 3rd, 1976, 1 a.m. 4 C-130 Hercules fly in tight formation, 100 feet above Lake Victoria. Navigation lights off, radio communications silent. 7 hours into the flight. One mistake at this altitude means instant impact. Inside the lead aircraft, Lieutenant Colonel Yonatan Netanyahu sits in the back seat of a black Mercedes. 3 operators beside him wear perfect replicas of Ugandan military uniforms. Around them, 26 more commandos. No one speaks. The engines drone. The Mercedes rocks against its chains. Netanyahu checks his watch. 90 minutes to target. 2:45 a.m. The lead pilot sees runway lights, yellow lines in the darkness. Entebbe International Airport. The lights are on, exactly as intelligence predicted. The control tower is dark. No personnel. No radio challenge. 11 p.m. local time.
The pilot lands without clearance, unauthorized, unannounced, flying into a sovereign nation's airport in the middle of the night. The wheels touch down. Before the aircraft stops rolling, the crew chief hits the ramp control. The chains release. The Mercedes rolls down the ramp while the aircraft is still moving. Behind it, 2 Land Rovers in Ugandan military colors. The convoy accelerates immediately. No pause, no hesitation. Straight toward the old terminal building. 600 yards away, 2 Ugandan sentries stand guard at the terminal entrance. They see headlights approaching. A black Mercedes, 2 military Land Rovers. Presidential convoy formation. They assume it's Idi Amin. The sentries begin to notice something's wrong. The car is moving too fast. No radio announcement, no advanced security. 2 guards raise their AK-47s. Too late. 2 suppressed shots. Both guards collapse. 2 seconds. But the suppressors fail. Surprise is lost. But that was always expected, because this mission doesn't rely on silence, it relies on speed, and the clock just started. 11:07 p.m. Netanyahu sprints toward the terminal entrance. His assault team, 29 Sayeret Matkal operators, flows behind him in practiced formation. The terminal doors are locked. 1 operator places a small explosive charge. 3 seconds. The doors explode inward. The team floods inside. The commandos enter, shouting in Hebrew, "Stay down! We are Israeli soldiers!" The hijackers react. All 4 hijackers neutralized. Elapsed time, 90 seconds. Outside, the Ugandan military is responding. 40 to 50 soldiers from the Malire Mechanized Regiment run toward the terminal. Netanyahu positions his team outside, establishing a defensive perimeter. The Ugandan soldiers open fire. The Israeli commandos return fire with precision. An RPG-7 streaks toward a Ugandan position. The advance falters, but they keep coming. Netanyahu directs his team, calling out targets, coordinating fire, maintaining the perimeter. The hostages must get out. The defensive line must hold. 11:16 p.m. Netanyahu stands near the terminal entrance, coordinating the evacuation. A single rifle shot from the control tower, 300 yards away. The round hits him in the chest. He staggers, falls. His deputy, Muki Betzer, is beside him instantly. The team medic rushes over, but the wound is catastrophic. Netanyahu is dying. By the time they reach the aircraft, he's gone. Lieutenant Colonel Yonathan Netanyahu, the commander who planned the impossible, who trained his men to perfection, who led them 2,500 miles into hostile territory, does not live to see the mission succeed. The commandos form a protective corridor from the terminal to the waiting C-130s. The hostages run, some barefoot, some clutching belongings, toward freedom. One by one, they board the aircraft.
The echoes of gunfire at Entebbe eventually faded, but the silence that followed carried a heavy price. History often favors the bold, but it must also account for the fallen. Despite the tactical success of the mission, the world awoke on July 4th to a sobering ledger of life and loss. Of the 106 hostages held in that terminal, 102 returned home. 3 died in the crossfire of the rescue: Ida Barokovich, Pasco Cohen, and Jean-Jacques Maimoni. A 4th, Dora Bloch, was later murdered in a Ugandan hospital in an act of state-sponsored retaliation. The elite Sayeret Matkal force suffered 5 wounded and 1 devastating loss. Their commander, Lieutenant Colonel Yonathan Netanyahu, shot by a Ugandan sentry in the control tower. In the terminal and across the airfield, all 7 hijackers were neutralized. Outside, between 20 and 45 Ugandan soldiers fell while defending a dictator's soil. The following events are a dramatization. While the courage displayed was absolute, the true cost of those 53 minutes remains etched in the names of the dead. This is the story of Operation Thunderbolt.